websites, and they all responded positively.
OfferUp, for example, actually expanded its workforce to work with us to diminish the number of those online sales from its platform. Others worked with their logarithms to change them as we detected problems.
Stewart says online sales of fireworks spiked during the pandemic. He says it's especially important to limit illegal fireworks this year because of the drought. And the U.S. Forest Service says people visiting San Bernardino National Forest will not be able to light campfires, use stoves, or go target shooting outside of certain areas. Forest rangers say the hot and dry conditions in SoCal have elevated the risk of wildfires throughout the forest. The restrictions start today. Violations can result in fines up to $10,000 or even 6 months in jail. All right, when we come back, we'll talk with ABC's Aaron Katursky. The U.S. took down a number of Iranian-linked news sites yesterday, which they said were spreading disinformation, but I'm wondering if there's more to that story. And when you start to crack down on things with Iran doesn't like it. And you've got a new president-elect there, so I'm just wondering what this means for the future with the U.S. and Iranian relations. All that's coming up. Right now, let's get back to disclosure on the 10.
It is police activity, as Jen mentioned in her newscast. So between Fontana and Rialto, the 10 is closed in both directions. Eastbound between Sierra and Cedar, westbound between Cedar and Sierra. Best thing to do is to just get off the freeway. Valley is kind of used up, but at least you know that it's going to be moving at some point, and right now we don't know when this is going to move. You can use Slover, also not as bad to the south of the 10. But at some point you can't even get to Slover. All those people that are kind of stuck in between and can't exit, CHP says that they're going to figure out a way to get you all turned around and get you off at an exit as well as they do this investigation. Boyle Heights on the 5 north at 4th Street. Fatal crash investigation. Only the left lane is open. Your drive slows down at the 60. And Corona on the 15 southbound and Ontario Avenue. That's a hit and run. The victim in the left lane with CHP. And the drive slows down at Magnolia. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Robin Banks.
This report is sponsored by Whole Foods Market. Step up your summer picnic at Whole Foods Market by enjoying organic red cherries for $4.99 a pound through June 29th while supplies last. Plus, Prime members save an extra 10%. Learn more on the Whole Foods Market app.
DeAndre Ayton called game. The Suns' big man slammed home an alley-oop with less than a second left to help Phoenix take a 2-0 lead over the Clippers. NBA official Scott Foster is under fire after the final 90 seconds took over a half hour in real time. There were 5 reviews in that span, and the Pistons won the top pick in the NBA draft lottery. Oklahoma State's Cade Cunningham is the consensus top prospect. I'm Misty Jordan.
What do you get when you cross a Mercedes with a race car? You get chills. You get goosebumps. There's really no other way to say it. OMG, AMG. Visit MBUSA.com/AMG. Mercedes AMG. Driving performance.
Rates subject to change without notice. Minimum loan amount requirements apply. 60% loan to value and 620 FICO credit score. Certain restrictions apply. Subject to credit approval. NMLS 3290. Loans made or arranged pursuant to a California Finance Lenders Law license number 6036970. Equal housing lender.
Wake up. Have you heard all these great home loan rates that are being advertised? How can you not? But maybe you don't think you qualify. But I started thinking about all the things around your home you might need a home loan for. And it's not just for, going out because we can all go out in the pandemic again, but it's hot. What if your air conditioner goes out? What if you need maintenance on that? Your roof, your fences, whatever the case may be. Well, if you need a home loan, all you got to do is call IntelliLoan. And this is even if you have okay credit or you're self-employed, because right now IntelliLoan is offering a 1.99% APR with no points or no lender fees. And this is even if you've got a credit score of 620. So if you need that money now, call IntelliLoan and ask them how to get a home loan with a rate of 1.99% APR with no points or lender fees. And again, this is even if you just have okay credit or you're self-employed. Call IntelliLoan before the rates go up. Call them at 1-800-918-6200. That's 1-800-918-6200. And just go to IntelliLoan.com.
IntelliLoan. Borrow smart.
Hey, it's Dean Sharp. If you've decided to sell your house, I know it is tempting to just get it listed as is or even take one of those cash-out deals. But why sell yourself short when making just the right upgrade will maximize its sale value? You mean like flipping our own home, Dean? We don't have the expertise or the cash for that. I know, but my friends at Revive do. Revive knows exactly what to change, what to spend, and where to spend it. They'll manage everything for you and front all the costs. Yes, Revive fronts the costs. They get paid back from escrow, but the profit gained is all yours. How much profit? The average client makes over 200% profit on what Revive invests on their behalf. It's a no-brainer. Reach out to iloverevive.com today and see if your home qualifies. To make the most from the sale of your home, go to iloverevive.com. That's iloverevive.com.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish is...
Pretty bad.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind. Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned. ¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
No matter your learning style or experience level, Babbel has lessons designed for you that will get you speaking quickly and confidently.
I tried learning Spanish before, but I couldn't stick with it until I found Babbel.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
Teacher said, now we speak Spanish.
I can't wait to use our new language skills on our upcoming adventures.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Every time the sun shines in Southern California, which is all the time, I remember how much money I saved thanks to SolarMax technology.
How much have you saved since you switched?
Let's just say that my energy bills are so low now that I am no longer the thermostat warrior in my house. My AC is practically free.
Your family must be thrilled.
Oh yeah, the family's thrilled. Listen, I'm thrilled. I have saved with no upfront cost. SolarMax does everything themselves right here in Southern California, and that means exceptional quality control and no middleman.
Right now, get SolarMax for only $69.98 a month, which includes a solar panel system and home battery with an APR as low as 0.99%.
This offer will expire, though, on June 30th. Call pound 250 from your cell phone and say the keyword SolarMax. That's pound 250 SolarMax, or go to solarmaxtech.com, solarmaxtech.com. Monthly payment available on approved credit, CSLB number 97204.
When it comes to protecting your business from fire, Bay Alarm brings the best. Like industry-leading fire detection systems, monitored 24/7. Bay Alarm puts the pro in fire protection. Now, more than ever, Bay Alarm. ACO 28CCL 880138.
What do you think that is there on the floor?
Yesterday it was Cheetos that were on the floor, but they were over on the underside of the desk over there.
It looks like it's real work to have that many crumbs.
I don't know what this is. I don't know what these crumbs are from.
That's purposeful.
Nacho cheese, but also sun chips or something.
Gary and Shannon.
And then the cap to a Diet Coke, I assume.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KFI.
Without Lysol. Lysol here in the studio. Lysol at my desk. Radio stations are just, they are just not a place that feel very clean. We are a weird bunch of people. That's all I'll say. I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee, and some of the stories we're watching on this wake-up call on this Wednesday. Pop star Britney Spears is due to address the LA judge who's overseeing her conservatorship case today. Has to do with the arrangement to control Spears' professional and personal life. Her dad and a trust fund are the co-conservators of her estate, and they share management of her business affairs. And at least one person's in the hospital after getting run over by a herd of cows that broke out of a slaughterhouse in Pico Rivera. There are about 40 of them that got out. Authorities say they had to kill one because it kept charging at a family. The animals eventually were rounded up and taken back to the meat packing plants. 5:35, we'll talk with infectious disease Dr. Simone Wiles. We've seen a rise in cases of COVID-19 amongst a certain group of young adults. And even though they know the cases are rising, many of them still seem hesitant to get a vaccination. But why? We'll find out about the specifics when we talk with Dr. Wiles in just a few minutes. Right now, let's say good morning to Aaron Katursky. So, Aaron, yesterday we know that the U.S. took down a number of Iranian-linked news sites. What do they say the reason was for that move?
Jen, they say that these websites were nothing more than propaganda arms of the Iranian government that were spreading disinformation in the United States and sowing discord among Americans during the 2020 presidential campaign. We know that Russia's pretty good at that too, the Chinese, and now Iran called out in the form of seizing about 36 websites, many of them linked to the Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps.
But there might be more to this story, and I have a feeling that Iran's not going to like this move.
Well, Iran probably won't like it, although the U.S. has, done similar things in the past. But one of the things I think that people have taken note of is the timing here, given the new election in Iran and the elevation of a hardliner to be the next president. But also, it comes as, the Americans are interested in negotiating a new nuclear accord. So this is something of a provocative act at an interesting time. But I think in some ways it's also overdue. I mean, a lot of what these websites did occurred, as I say, during the election. So, the Biden administration's catching up here.
Is Iran expected to do something similar? Do you have any idea what access to the media Iranians have when it comes to the U.S.? Is Iran going to say, hey, you guys accused us of disinformation, you guys do the same thing, we're going to block links to yours?
Well, I suppose they could, although I don't know how freely, the New York Times site is available in Iran now. But I think this was more, not necessarily a concern that Americans are consuming press TV out of Iran. And if they are, that may not make much of a difference. The bigger concern, I think, is the willful violations of American sanctions, because these are sites, many of them linked to the Revolutionary Guard Corps, to Hezbollah, which is a foreign terrorist organization. But also the idea that these sites are just being used not for free speech purposes, but really to sow discord among Americans and amplifying fringe conspiracy theories or controversial things, and just by the virtue of repetition, injecting them into more mainstream dialogue. And that's where the Russians have been effective. We know Iran was working on it too, and that's where the U.S. really wanted to try and crack down.
Yeah, you get us to start, pitting each other against each other, and they see that as a win for them, so that makes sense. Aaron, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jen.
See ya. ABC's Aaron Katursky. That's always what's so scary about disinformation on the internet, and, I know it happens every day. But one person reads something. It's like a weird Bible study. I read something, you read something, we both take it completely different ways, and then we start attacking each other. But we both have valid reasons behind what we just read. Hey, I read it says the sky is blue. Well, hey, I read it says the sky is blue, and here's why I think it said that. Oh, yeah? Well, here's why I think it said that. And it just starts getting us to kind of fight at each other, pick at each other. And that's what these countries are hoping that we do. In other words, let them take themselves down. We don't have to do it. We just have to sort of drop the bomb and walk away and see what happens. That's always kind of the scariest form of attack, in my opinion. All right, some of the stories we're watching in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Health officials are warning the Delta variant of COVID-19 is spreading across the U.S. and is threatening younger adults who are less likely to be vaccinated. ABC's Andrew Dimbert says the variant now accounts for 20% of the new COVID cases in the country.
The variant now confirmed in nearly every state and now accounting for nearly half of all infections from Iowa to Colorado.
And this is exactly what we're going to talk with Dr. Wilds about coming up at 5:35. Dozens of people reportedly have been killed in an airstrike in Ethiopia. Health workers say a village market in the Tigray region was the target. They claim soldiers have blocked medical teams from getting to the scene. Remember the coach of the high school basketball team that threw tortillas at the opposition? That coach has been fired. Coronado High School beat a team from Escondido in a regional championship over the weekend. Players from the winning side tossed tortillas at the others, who were mostly Hispanic. The governing board of Coronado School District met last night and voted to fire the coach. Was that the right move? I don't know. I don't know enough about the story to say that this coach had been accused of somehow perpetuating racism amongst his players. Did he know that it was a possibility that it was going to happen and he did nothing about it? For me, it feels like this coach might have some wiggle room. Did he do nothing to stop it? Or did he try and stop it? Did it happen and he knew nothing about it? Was he clean as a whistle and never had been accused of perpetuating racism? I don't know. Could he go for a wrongful termination? Possibly. Let's see. Fast food joints are ditching the meal deals for the pricey party platters.
Restaurant chains including McDonald's, KFC, and Domino's say they're paring back their $5 and below value meals and pushing more expensive $10 to $30 combination meals. The value meals in the pandemic gave the fast food chains a big boost while many mom-and-pop restaurants were forced to close. Now that things are reopening and food costs are rising, the chains say the move to pricier stuff has been a big boon to their bottom line. The organizations that look at this stuff say meat and poultry prices have spiked more than 20% since the start of the year. Michael Crozier, KFI News.
I noticed that as you go through a drive-through now, there's always, it's not necessary, yeah, you still have the number 1 through 10 and you can get your McDouble and your whatever, but they'll have a family meal and it's whatever, 4 quarter pounders and 4 fries and 4 Cokes or something like that. And it's just weird to see $19.95 on a McDonald's menu or $16.95, whatever the case may be. But you can see how they're sort of inching up toward that and how families might kind of look at this more like, hey, I'm going to bring home hamburgers and fries for the kids. I can go through the drive-thru. We don't have to put in the DoorDash order, or Grubhub order, whatever. I can be doing work in the car while I'm sitting in line. I can see how this was an easy switch for people to make. And finally, did you hear about 2 people having to be hospitalized after they were stung by bees in Fountain Valley? So apparently, there was this guy from Santa Ana who said that he and his girlfriend and his best friend were going to eat at the Sizzler on Harbor Boulevard in Fountain Valley. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They pull into the restaurant's parking lot, and all of a sudden they get out of the car, and they're surrounded by bees. So apparently, they all scramble, right? But they wound up getting stung, and the guy who's kind of telling his story to the news says he was actually the one who didn't get stung that badly, but apparently his friend and his girlfriend were stung horribly. He said, my buddy's 315 pounds, big man, strong guy, and he's crying like a baby, saying, help me. And apparently at some point, this guy managed to reach his girlfriend, said he removed 15 bees that had crawled into her hair. He was pulling stingers out of her neck before firefighters got there a few minutes later. And they were taken to the hospital. We don't know exactly how the 2 people who were badly stung were, and they say that the majority of the bees were contained. And they say bee swarms happen when a hive either becomes overpopulated or it gets too hot for bees to live in. That's what made me nervous. Great. As the temperatures go up. All right. We have one more thing to look forward to. Annoying bees that want to crawl in our hair and get 15 of them in our hair right now. Okay, if that doesn't make you itchy, I don't know what does. Right, when we come back, we'll talk with infectious disease doctor Simone Wild. So we've seen a rise in cases of COVID-19, as you just heard in that story, and it's amongst young adults. They know the cases are going up, but they still don't want to get a COVID-19 vaccine. Why? We'll find out when we talk with her in just a few minutes. Let's get back to this crash on the 5.
This is a fatal crash in Boyle Heights. It's on 5 North at 4th Street. Only the left lane is open, so you can squeeze through here, but it's going to take you a while from Calzona. Also in Boyle Heights on the 5 North at Calzona. Somebody spun out because they didn't notice the slowing, apparently, so they are blocking the left lane. Overall, that's the rough drive from the 710. Downtown Los Angeles on the 10 East connector, the 110 northbound. Motorcycle crash left lane of that connector road. Starting to see some pressure for your drive right around Hoover. Now, between Fontana and Rialto, you do have the 10 closed in both directions. That is police activity that's going on. So you want to get to the 60 or the 210 is probably optimal, or even Route 66. But you can hang with them if you want to. You can hop off. You can use Valley Boulevard, and you can use slow books to get around this as well. It's going to be a while. Since 1:45 this morning, so we'll see how long it takes to finally get that clear. KFI in the sky, let's get you there faster. I'm Robin Dick.
Rick Edelman, #1 New York Times best-selling author and founder of Edelman Financial Engine, takes questions on his radio show.
Hi, Rick. I have a pension and can take it as monthly income or a lump sum. Which do you think is better?
Well, the monthly check is only as safe as your employer's ability to pay it. I mean, that will never rise, so inflation will erode its value. You have no access to the principal, and when you die, the money stops, even if you die tomorrow. So we usually recommend a lump sum. You get to invest the money however you want and generate your own income. You have full access anytime, and whatever's left over goes to your spouse or kids. But for some workers, the monthly option is better, so you should meet with a financial advisor to be sure that you're doing what's best for you.
That's Rick Edelman, founder of Edelman Financial Engines, with his advice on pension. If you have a personal finance question, talk to an experienced financial planner at 888-PLAN-RICK or visit rickedelman.com. SoCal weather from KFI. Sunny today, a little bit cooler. Highs will be in the low 70s to the mid 80s. Then, a couple of degrees warmer tomorrow, and we are looking for those highs back into the mid to upper 90s for the weekend. We leave local, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee.
Good kids sometimes make bad choices. But with the support of caring adults, their futures hold great potential. Find out how you can help a young person on probation at foreverfriendsla.org.
If you're like me, you can't wait to travel, but a lot of destinations want a negative COVID-19 test. That's where COVID Clinic comes in. COVID Clinic has 1-hour COVID-19 PCR tests to travel to almost anywhere in the world. They'll even help with your travel documentation. Make your trip prep easy by doing your COVID-19 testing at one of the many fast and even drive-through COVID Clinic locations near you. So whether you need a COVID-19 PCR test for travel, school, or you just want an antigen test, go to covidclinic.org. Restrictions apply. Go to covidclinic.org.
Want to know the secret to making sure everything at Ralph's is fresh? Secret shoppers. Guys we hire to expertly inspect our produce department in every store. Their mission is to ensure we have the freshest bananas, lettuce, and more. Now that the secret is out, you know what else is? Tomatoes that are fresher than fresh. Ralph's, fresh for everyone.
Now it's even easier to save on your favorites with delivery and free pickup. Just visit Ralphs.com or the app today. Restrictions apply. Ralphs, fresh for everyone. Call Service Champions for their $88 professional AC tune-up at 833-777-7777.
KFI AM 640.
Our radio station.
24-hour news. More stimulating talk.
KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Welcome to your midweek. I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee. Some of the stories we're following on this Wednesday. The CHP says officers have shot and killed the driver of a stolen big rig. After he led them on a chase on the 10 freeway, the cops say the driver was on the wrong side of the freeway and rammed their vehicles at a roadblock they'd set up. The chase started in San Bernardino, ended in Fontana, where the freeway's been shut down in both directions. Robin Banks will have all your traffic implications from that as we have through the morning. News is brought to you by Rooter Hero. Let's say good morning now to infectious disease Dr. Simone Wiles from South Shore Health in Weymouth, Massachusetts. Dr. Wiles, welcome back. Nice to talk to you again.
Yes, good morning. Thanks for having me on, Jen.
I just ran a story a second ago that talked about a rise in the cases of COVID-19 in the age group of people 18 to 29. You've got young adults who know that the cases are on the rise. Why don't they want to get the vaccine? What's the hesitancy?
Well, Jennifer, I think one of the big things is they feel they will not get COVID. It's for older people, it's for someone else. They feel they're invincible, COVID is not for them. And they are also not taking the vaccine because they feel, they're believing a lot of the misinformation and disinformation that's on social media. That's part of the reason they tell me. Some of them, they say their parents say they shouldn't take it. Really, you get the whole spread of reasons why they don't take it, which really think is wrong because they are really getting a lot more of the cases of COVID right now.
I have to say, some of the younger people that I know who are kind of in that, maybe mid-20 range who still live with their parents, they were the ones who I was surprised didn't necessarily go get the COVID-19 vaccine for themselves, but they said they didn't want to risk bringing it home to their parents. So that invincibility for them, that was clearly there. But I thought it was, it kind of warmed my heart to see that they were doing it for their family.
Yes, that was really very nice, and definitely want to encourage those who still live at home and undecided to go ahead and get the vaccine because we know the vaccine is safe, it's effective. And another reason why I really want to encourage them is because we have the Delta variant, which is becoming more prevalent here in the U.S. It's now up to 20%, and we anticipate in the next couple of weeks it's going to be even higher. And so we want to prevent that by giving the vaccine, which works against this variant.
Speaking of that variant, and the fact that it is more contagious than the others, people who have gotten vaccinated are now saying, "Hey, whoa, do I have to be worried about this do I have to be worried about this variant specifically?"
So the good news is we know that the vaccines we have right now work against the Delta variant and the other variants, but right now the focus is on the Delta variant, and it works quite well. So I don't think you need to be concerned about getting COVID. However, the group that's immunocompromised, meaning your immune system just doesn't work as well, I would say I would be a little bit more cautious if you're in that group, but everyone else should be okay.
This is a tough conversation to have. What if, I started thinking, what if you're a young adult who wants to get the vaccine, but maybe you live in a house where your parents don't want you to get the vaccine? How does everybody sit down and have that conversation? Because, any health decision that you make, I know at least for me, my parents were on top of it, and we would, argue about it, or at least have a good discussion about it. And this is so hot button. How do you go about that?
It's a really tough question, and I don't know if I have the right answer, but one thing I will say is that for people that live in these families where these conversations are difficult and you want to do one thing versus another, I think at some point each individual has to take responsibility for their health, especially if they're the age where they can make that decision. And so if you're 18 or older, your parents might not support it, but I think you could be the leader. You can be the agent of change in that family. Get the vaccine. They can see how well you do, and then that might motivate them. But just sharing tidbits about the efficacy, the vaccine, how well it's working, and many others, I think that might help to change their minds a bit, but I think sometimes you have to be the example and go ahead and get it done.
All right, Dr. Wild, you are awesome as always. I appreciate your time.
All right, thank you. Be safe.
Thanks, you too. See you later. That is infectious disease doctor Simone Wild from South Shore Health in Weymouth, Massachusetts. I started thinking about that, though, is the conversations that I have with my friends who are critical of me getting the vaccine. And there are plenty of and those are awkward conversations. And I'm a 45-year-old woman. And it's awkward. Imagine you're an 18-year-old. Imagine you're a 23-year-old. You still live at home. And you thought, I think I should go get the vaccine. And your parents are like, what in the world is wrong with you? You are not getting that needle in your arm, for whatever their reason may be. How do you have that conversation with them? Do you go ahead and go get it and just pray that you don't get sick so they don't realize what you've done? Or vice versa. What if you are parents who fully believe in the vaccine, but your kid won't go get it? How do you convince them that they need to go get it? We all remember being 18. I'm telling you, the rest of the world was stupid. I was the smartest person in the world, and I was invincible. And if I made up my mind about something, there was no changing it. And honestly, my parents didn't have a good chance. So is it going to be peer pressure? Maybe. I think that's probably what my biggest influencer was back in the day. Was if somebody that I was good friends with, or my group of friends, all did something, of course I would go along with it. So is that what we need to lean on? Possibly. Let's get back to some of these stories coming out of the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Twin brothers who worked as Orange County Sheriff's deputies have admitted submitting fake military orders to get leave from the department. Taylor and Tyler Morgan are charged with defrauding taxpayers so they could go on leave without using their vacation days. The U.S. Attorney's Office says the brothers did it between 2017 and 2020, and in that time, neither one had been ordered by the Marines to go on duty with their reserve unit. A judge in L.A. says she may dismiss claims of civil rights violations in a lawsuit filed by members of Black Lives Matter against former L.A. County DA Jackie Lacey and her husband, David Lacey. Now, he's the one who pointed a gun at protesters last year when they showed up at the couple's home early in the morning, banging drums and chanting. Some went to his door and rang the bell. The lawsuit also alleges intentional infliction of emotional distress and negligence. The lawsuit also says that the judge says that she may dismiss the claims, though, of any civil rights violations in that case. The Biden administration says it's starting an investigation into the former federal boarding school program for Native American kids. The Interior Secretary says the investigation will focus on finding and reviewing decades of records about the operation of schools and the mass murders that happened there. The schools were set up in the 1800s to assimilate Native American kids. They were in operation for more than 150 years. Well, speaking of a long time, Disney World's planning an 18th-month celebration to honor the theme park's 50th anniversary. Disney says all 4 parks in Florida will be part of the world's most magical celebration starting in October. The celebration will feature a number of new shows and experiences across the parks. Man, speaking of experiences, this is a crummy experience. Have you tried to fill up for gas lately? Even when I filled up for gas and said, oh yeah, I'll get a car wash, because A, I needed a car wash, but also it's supposed to drop your gas numbers, it was still $4, like a little over $4 and change. And that was good, because an average LA County gas price now is at its highest level in nearly 6 years. The average price of a gallon of self-serve gas has reached that milestone, according to the AAA, with an average of now $4.26. It has risen 7 of the past 8 days, 3 times by 1/10 of a cent, increasing 1.3 cents. And I know that these, it's a penny extra. You kind of don't see it creeping up, but the last time that it was this high was in July of 2015. And that's when high prices were blamed on not enough supply to meet demand. But this time around, a global demand for fuel driven by economic recovery seems to be the culprit on that one. So just don't be shocked. At least you're going to know when you go to the gas pump, hey, this is something that you could see. And several changes are happening at LAX as more people start getting comfortable with flying again. Ride shares from LAX are getting more expensive because there you've got an issue of supply and demand. You've got multiple construction projects underway. You do have a metro train that eventually will take people to the airport. But one traveler said apparently she was headed from the airport, from LAX to Echo Park, and an app, whichever ride app she was using, quoted her $200 for the trip. Pro tip here that I learned from my brother. He was flying from down here. So he went from Ontario to San Jose Airport. When he got off his plane, he was going to, I think, Uber home. And it was going to be like $175 or something like that for him to do it. He waited 15 minutes and it dropped to over $50.